Well, howdy, everybody. My name is Keller Cox, and you are listening to the Garrett Smith podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 37 of the podcast. And today we have with us a really cool up-and-coming Texas country artist and also a unique fact, Fightin Texas Aggie class of 21 yell leader, Mr. Keller Cox. Keller, how's it going today?
It's going good, Garrett. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. And let me tell any Aggies listening, I'm not a bad Aggie for saying, how are you doing? I did say howdy when we were off air. So just to cover my butt there. But you've had a very busy month. So kind of tell us what you've been up to and kick us off at the Orange Bowl because I'm kind of a homer and I want to hear what that trip was like.
Right. No, it has been. 2021 has started really fast, which is good, coming off of 2020 and all of the challenges it brought. But yeah, we started off the year in Miami, actually, with the Aggies. As Aggie said, as they beat the hell out of UNC. And so, yeah, we got to go up there as yell leaders or down there to Miami. And it was a fun time. Really, really cool trip. We haven't been able to travel with the yell leaders or with the team this last year because of COVID-19 and all the restrictions. And for those of you who are non-Aggies tuning in, here at A&M, we don't have cheerleaders, we have yell leaders. And it's a tradition that's been going on since 1907. It's five yell leaders that represent Texas A&M University. And so, yeah, we traveled down to Miami, Garrett. It was so fun. Got to be on the beach a little bit. Got to be in Hard Rock Stadium, which is a really, really cool place. And it was just a fun trip to start off 2021. So
that's quite the memory. I mean, to not be able to travel for a football season, then boom, that's your bowl game trip. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. It was a good time. And then some other things that are going on. I'm sure a lot of music things happening, which is crazy because if someone would have told me a year and a half ago that I was going to try to make a career out of singing country music, Texas country music, I would have like laughed and said, "There's no way." And it's because a year and a half ago, I'd never written a song before. No joke.
Wow.
So I wrote my first song a little bit over a year and a half ago. Right. It was in College Station. Was going to the local dance hall all the time, which is Hurricane Harry's, and became I'd always played music and but never really wrote a song before, and got some inspiration, wrote a song, and it was just crazy how it all happened. But yeah, so ended up, and I can tell the full story later as we get into this thing, but full circle, ended up recording an EP out of Austin and have been releasing some singles from that EP over the past 3 to 4 months. And so just released the third single this last like a weekish ago off the EP, and just exciting stuff, man. It's a whole new world for me, but just very exciting, and it's cool to be a part of it. It's because it's something, same thing with being a yell leader. It's bigger than yourself, and I didn't really even know the whole scene of music, but it's so much bigger than just the artist and then the music. It's a whole community of people, and it's so cool, man.
That is pretty incredible. And I'm just sitting here trying to figure out how you balanced COVID plus school, being a yell leader, and recording music, because I don't know, I can barely find where I put my keys in the morning. I'm trying to figure out how you're doing this.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. It's, you don't. No, I'm just kidding. There is a way. It's, I don't sleep a lot, to be completely honest. I mean, I'm in the Corps of Cadets at A&M, and we get up at 5:30 every day. So we have an early start to our day, and that doesn't mean that you can end your day early necessarily, because there's things that need to be done. And so I'll usually go to bed at like 12. So you get 5.5 hours of sleep, and it does catch up to you at some points with just, but this, I don't know, man, there's only so much time in the day to get things done. And I think, my brother was an Aggie, and not that he was a musician at all. He can't carry a tune in a bucket, no offense to him. But when he was at A&M, he served as a yell leader and really just left it all out there. And I think, looking up to him and seeing other people go before him as well that I looked up to at A&M is, this is a special place, and people make the most out of their time here. And, I thought I was doing that with Yale, and then this other thing came in my lap, and, just trying to steward it well and trying to make the most out of my time while I'm here at A&M. And so, you can sleep, the saying goes, you can sleep when you're dead. And that's kind of been my my stance on things, I guess. So it's very hard though. It is not, there are sacrifices that I make, to try and chase my dreams and to do all this and have all these different balls in the air that I'm juggling. It's, you lose the chance to, catch up or just chillax, catch up with old friends. And that's tough. But I think, at the end of the day, it's like, and I'm doing something that I love, and that's very joyful. And I'm glad to have people in my corner that understand that and support me in that.
So have you had the situation yet where you're booked to play a show somewhere and, last call's not till 2 a.m. and then you still have to get up early the next morning?
Oh man. Yeah, I guess so. I haven't played full band yet, which is almost maybe a little bit of a blessing. Like, being in, college right now and not really being able to tour. There's only been a lot of things to play acoustic shows, which very soon, a little bit of a teaser here, going to be playing full band, I think, in the next maybe month or two, possibly. So
cool.
Look out for that. But there's been some scenarios where it's been one, booking on, edging up on 2, and then I'm waking up at 5:30. There has been some of those scenarios, which is just crazy, but it's, you catch up sleep, you take a nap in the daytime, or whatever. So
I would say I miss having that kind of energy from when I was in college, but I don't think I had that energy when I was in college. I mean, those are some late hours.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
So you put out this EP, and I've been listening to some of the songs you've been putting out. And here's something I've observed about your music that I like, especially now that we know that these are recent songs and you haven't been writing a whole long time. There are bits and pieces that I can catch either in your voice or in your style of music that remind me of other artists in a good way. And I believe I want to say it was California Cowgirl. I'm going to feel like an idiot if I get this wrong. But one of your kind of like slower step songs, right off the bat, it kind of reminded me of Gary Allan's songs about rain. I mean, it just kind of had that same sort of intro. And I was like, I'm really liking this. And then I think it was Tell It Like It Is, where you kind of had like some of Josh Abbott's songs where he sings kind of in a higher range. It reminded me like of a mix of between that and Flatland. I mean, it captured everything. So I've been really enjoying listening to this stuff.
Man, thank you for listening. One, I never like to force my music on people. I think I'm a huge believer that music kind of speaks for itself. And if you get the chance to play it, or release something, it's a great thing. But that's crazy because I'll hear, a lot of comparisons sometimes, but I've never heard those two before. So thank you for saying that. There's a new one.
Well, I like to be original. Tell you what, let's kick this thing off by playing a song on the podcast. Which one should we do? How about Tell It Like It Is?
Go for it, man.
Well, you say you can't put to words the thoughts stuck in your head. Is it you, is it them, or is it something that I said? And me sitting and staring at you ain't gonna help. Just tell me that you love me, or just tell me something else. So don't tell me how it was or how you want it to be. Don't change your mind like the wind blows. Don't give that look to me. If you're gonna tell me something, just tell me this. Tell me that you love me, or just tell it like it is. Well, it's getting pretty late, and I should be going soon. 12 will lead to 1, and 1 will lead to 2. And I'll be too lost in those eyes to say goodbye to you. And I'll end up doing something that I shouldn't do. So don't tell me how it was or how you want it to be. Don't change your mind like the wind blows. Don't give that look to me. If you're gonna tell me something, just tell me this. Tell me that you love me, or just tell it like it is. Because I love you, and I'm pretty sure you love me too. So don't tell me how it to be. Don't change your mind like the wind blows, don't give that look to me. If you're gonna tell me something, just tell me this. Tell me that you love me. Or just tell it like, don't tell me how it was or how you want it to be. Don't change your mind like the wind blows, don't give that look to me. If you're gonna tell me something, just tell me this. Tell me that you love me, or just tell it like it is. Come on.
Tell it like it is. So take me through your story as a musician, like early influences, where you got your start, and what brought you to A&M.
Oh, wow. You got time? No, I'm just kidding. So early, story as a musician. So I started playing, I picked up a guitar when I was in 8th grade. And I'm actually going to tell a story that not a lot of people know, which is,
Ooh.
So this is a rarity, but
Exclusive.
I played football in middle school. So I just learned guitar. I think it was in the summer. And in that season, I fractured my wrist and fractured my pinky, both at different times. And so there's like a span of 9 weeks where I couldn't, 9 plus, because you're recovering, and I couldn't play guitar. And I don't know if that's the thing that really jump started me, but I had learned it. And then I think it was just sitting there and not having played it for a while. When the cast came off, it was I was back to it. I don't know. It's just, I think of that story sometimes. It's crazy. But after that, learning to play guitar, played in church, and grew up going to church, and still am a believer. And so got to really learn to play, my first, singing into a mic and playing at the same time. My knees were shaking. It was crazy. And then started to be able to play with a full band in big church, and did that all throughout high school. And really, there was never a thing man, I want to play country music. But then I got to Texas A&M, and I learned about this thing called Texas country music. And I had always, Garrett, heard of we grew up listening, on the way to church, we'd listen to worship music. And on the way home, we'd listen to, Alan Jackson, Toby Keith, Kenny Chesney, Tim McGraw, all of those 2000s country. But I never knew what this thing called Texas country was until I got to A&M. And someone showed me this band called Flatland Calvary. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. It blew my mind. Just the writing style, the sound that was so just organic. And I was like, this is crazy. And then I found this band called Turnpike Troubadours. I was like, that's awesome. And then this guy named Parker McCullum, I hear his song, and it just, I fell in love, man, with country music, like all over again. I'd always loved country music, but fell in love with Texas country music. And I don't know, it's 2.5, 3 years into college. And like I said at the start of the podcast, writing my first song, is it cool if I tell a little story behind that?
Yeah.
So, I just got elected Yell Leader, we're required to be in College Station all summer long. So we were going to Harry's as much as we could. We weren't 21 yet, but if you're not 21, you get in free when you're at 10:30 on Thursday nights. And so we would go at 10:30, and we would dance all night long. And I was single at the time, and, learning how to dance with a girl, that's one thing, I think it's an art. I'm going to definitely teach my kids when I'm older of how to ask a girl on the dance floor, if that's still a thing. I hope it is, because that's in itself is being a gentleman, asking someone to dance, because dancing, it's not a weird thing. It's in Texas, we're having fun, you're dancing, but you also, there's a way it works. You got to ask her on the dance floor, hey, can I dance? And it's a nerve wracking thing, for the first time. And just really, that was like my summertime. And I met this girl that was from California. She was an Aggie. And we danced all summer long as dance partners. And we would just every Thursday night dance. And so that's where the inspiration for California Cowgirl came. And so again, in College Station, going to Harry's, hearing a lot of music, playing a lot more because I had a lot more free time, just in the daytime, and always had a guitar by. And I wrote a chorus and a verse of California Cowgirl. And I played it for my friend he's a yell leader right now with me. And he teared up. He's like, dude, that's really good. And I was like, really? And I didn't know, I'd never really tried to write before, maybe every once in a while, but never really, sit down and gave a lot of thought to it. And then it was crazy. I went to go see Flatland at Harry's. They have like these Wednesday shows in College Station. I don't know if you've ever been to one, but they have these acoustic shows during the summertime. And I got to talk to Cleto Cadero after the show.
Oh, cool.
And he was asking me about some yell leader stuff because someone had introduced me to him. And we're behind Harry's, and I was, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. And I was like, I don't know what came over me. I was like, man, I have this song. And I was like, he's like, do you have it recorded? And I was like, no. I was like, I could play it for you if you got a guitar. He was, well, just sing it. And no joke, in front of Cleto Cadero, I sang the first verse and chorus of California Cowgirl. And he was like, man, that's pretty good. And he was like, anyways, he goes on just to he was like, it was the first time that I'd really thought wow, someone else thought this was good. Someone I, loved their music. And really, he just encouraged me to keep writing and to keep, whenever they got the chance and inspiration to put words to page and keep a pen and pencil or pen and paper near. And man, that was the start for me. I think that was really what kicked me to man, I think I should go for this. And so that's really from start to finish. I know it's long-winded, but that's really, a lot of details in between there too, but that's kind of the gist of my music story. And the rest is kind of history, honestly.
That's a pretty cool way to kick off. I mean, I can't imagine if the songwriters I admire were sing it on the spot without a guitar, I would just freeze.
Yeah, it was crazy, but it's a cool story, just to, to have. And, yeah, man, it's what a time. But it really did. I started writing from that point forward more and more. And I say that I started capturing, moments from that point forward, because I'm a firm believer that, if a good song writes itself and you're just there to be a part of it. And I don't sit down, let's say it's a Thursday and I sit down, I'm going to write a song. No, I don't do that. I get this idea or something's in my heart, something's heavy or something's really joyful, and it's an expression, and it's, and I kind of, I guess I maybe learned that from Cleto. I remember hearing, maybe it was a podcast kind of like this, but he's like, if you don't have anything to say, don't say it. And I kind of put that in my mind. And I don't know. I think it really does kind of make my music not stand out, but it's more, it's me, when you listen to my music, there's not something that's made up in there. It is all a true story, if that makes sense. But yeah.
That makes it so much more relatable. I'm kind of that way. None of the songs I've ever put out were written by anybody but me. And almost all of them are true stories, or it's a joke, but it's a joke that was shared between two people that we think other people would laugh at. So it always comes from somewhere real. And that just makes it so much more enjoyable to do, because it takes so much effort and time and money to record a song and put it out there. You get burned out if your heart's not into it.
That is true. Of
course, you kind of get burned out when your heart is into it sometimes.
I think music is a roller coaster, man. It is when you're pursuing music, and maybe it's just dreams in general, but I've found it in music that there's some days where man, I think this is going to happen. I think this is going to work. And you're excited, and then there's other days where what am I doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing? I don't even know if this is going to work out. Yeah, man.
Well, based on that story, I think we should play California Cowgirl here.
Go for it.
California cowgirl, come here. Would you let me spin you around this room? 'Cause I ain't ever seen anything wild as you. You're a West Coast Southern dream come true. When she's Californian, she plays the part, the Orange County queen of my heart. But she'll two-step around you with those Vans that she wears. Oh, you can't find this nowhere. She's a West Coaster Southern mess, dance around me in her sundress. She's throwing my heart for a whirl. She's like a wave crashing over me, sunset in my memory. California cowgirl. When she's texting, she's at her best, with her blue eyes, blonde hair, and cotton dress. With those boots and her jeans on a Thursday night, man, we'll close down the place every time. She's a West Coaster Southern mess, dance around me in her sundress. She's throwing my heart for a whirl. She's like a wave crashing over me, sunset in my memory. California cowgirl, don't go nowhere, don't go nowhere. Would you stay with me right here, my California cowgirl? 'Cause you're a West Coaster Southern mess, dance around me in your sundress. You're throwing my heart for a whirl. You're like a wave crashing over me, sunset in my memory. You're the answer to my wildest dreams. Take my hand, come with me. California cowgirl.
So you've got some pretty cool backstories behind your songs. Of all of them, which song would you say means the most to you?
Oh, that is a tough question. Oh my goodness. Man. Okay. I guess we'll say Bluebonnet Love. And the reason being that one's pretty special to me because like I said earlier, like sometimes I feel like a song writes itself. And man, that was one of those songs where I think I wrote it within 45 minutes to an hour, like wow. That, like just, and it wasn't, I don't know why, but it just came off like on the page, you know, and it was, that one's special to me because I think it really, I love the way it relates to Texas and, you know, growing up in Texas and always going to take pictures in bluebonnets. And then I had this crazy idea, like, man, that's, you know, short-lived love that I experienced, and it was like, man, bluebonnets, and it was just like kind of like a light bulb went off. I was like, wow, like Bluebonnet Love, like, and trying to paint this picture of not only the geographic significance of these flowers in Texas, but also of the heartbreak of a short-lived love. And I don't know, man, that one definitely. I mean, I could tell a story like that of every song, But that one is just kind of holds a special place in my heart.
That's pretty cool. That's a clever way to go about it too, because see, I told you I'd stutter before the end of this thing. Life cycle of a bluebonnet. And there's a good point to that, because you drive through any highway and you see them on the side of the road. There's always like 5 people taking pictures in them. And then a week later, there's like nobody.
Yeah. And dude, I didn't even realize you haven't even heard this song yet. So,
no.
So I'm talking about a song you haven't heard about, but I'm excited for you to hear it. And it's actually, I finalized today, actually decided that I'm going to be releasing the rest of the EP February, I think 27th. It should be a Friday. I think it's 26th.
Oh, cool.
I will confirm that for you. But yeah, at the end of February, I'm going to be, it's February 26th. I'll be releasing the other 2 songs off the EP. So exciting things. But yes, I cannot wait for you to hear Bluebonnet Love. Because me explaining it doesn't do it justice for you to hear it, I guess. It's a pretty cool story. I
like that, though. It'll get people wanting to hear it if they hear this story.
Yes, sir.
If you could film a music video to any of your songs, what would you pick?
I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but I almost think I think Bluebonnet Love would be a cool song. I always imagine that song being listened to driving on the highway during the springtime. And this is the crazy thing. I've never listened to it driving down the highway like fully produced to Bluebonnets. And so I cannot wait to do that. But that would be one. And honestly, I think, man, there's some new ones off. I just got to cut my first full album. And so that was I've been up to a lot. Yes. Like we talked about earlier, this in the last month or so. And I got to go to Austin and cut 10 songs. And there's a song on there I can't really say yet because I don't want to give too much away, but there's definitely a song or 2 on there that I would want to film a music video to, and hopefully get the chance to do that, but yeah.
When you have a song that's about a certain location, hearing it at that place for the first time is so cool.
Yeah, I could not confirm that yet, for you, but I cannot wait to live those experiences, especially with California Cowgirl. I cannot wait to hopefully go to Harry's and hear that play over the speakers or play it. That would be cool. And get to share that story with people, like this is about this place, but hopefully lots of memories to be created.
You mentioned Hurricane Harry's, and it's kind of like a shrine for any Aggie songwriter. It's like we all want to go play there. What are some of your favorite places or venues or towns you've gotten to perform?
Oh man. There's been few, but I would say, I think, and I'm sad it's closed down now, but I started playing my very first show to ever play country music was at the New Republic. Well, I guess I played someplace, but first venue would be the New Republic Brewery in South College Station. And, friends came, which is great. I'm glad that I was just very growing up there, because that's special to me, because I learned to perform on that stage. Anyone can go up on stage, not anyone, but if you know songs, you can go up and, play a song and then change your capo or whatever and play the next song. But at the New Republic, I really learned to play a song and to tell a story and then to play a song. And hey, how's everyone doing out there? And really connect with the audience. And I'm not saying I'm a pro by any means, but that place is special to me for that reason. And then other places I've played, man, I'd have to say, I've loved, there's been some private parties that I've gotten to play before that are super fun. I got to open up at a private party one time. I can't give too many details, but I got to play right after Bruce Robinson had played.
Whoa.
And that was a cool experience because I was just, again, I was wet behind the ears and just starting to play music, and I got this opportunity to play and got to meet Bruce, and that was a cool, wow, this is wild, why am I allowed to be here? But those are definitely 2 of my favorite places, I think, or times I've played.
Well, I don't get to ask guests this question, actually, you're the second ever person I've gotten to ask this question to. The other was Roy May back on one of the early episodes, but what's the best place you've gotten to travel as a yell leader?
Oh, there you go. I love Roy. Roy's a good guy. Best place that I've gotten to travel as a yell leader. Man, Miami was definitely the top, but we'll take that one. We already talked about that one. We'll take that one out of the picture. I would say best place I've gotten to travel would be Ole Miss. That was a really, really cool trip.
Huh.
Their campus is absolutely beautiful. The architecture there, the people outside of the stadium are really nice. And when I say that, like their students, like they took us on a tour. They have this really cool thing called Column Society there, and took us on a tour of campus. But when we got in the stadium, it was a whole different ball game. But it made it fun though. It was rowdy. I think people had been drinking all day, and it got pretty rowdy. So there were some things said that I cannot repeat on a podcast to us, to the L leaders, but that was definitely a legendary trip for me, I think. So
I've noticed that about the SEC. Now, I haven't really gotten to go to the road games, but just when I was in graduate school at A&M and their fans would come to our tailgates, I always noticed, like, man, they're pretty friendly. And then we go in the stadium, it's like, okay, now they're completely angry at us, but it's all good.
Yeah. That is the SEC, I think, except for A&M. A&M is top class, and that's been the cool part of being at A&M is when road teams come to town, it's like they're like, why are y'all so nice? That's just how us Aggies are. Yeah, man, it's been a cool experience being a Yell leader at A&M.
So where can people find your music and follow your shows if they're not already following you?
Right. So where you can find my music, you can find it on all music platforms. So Spotify, Apple Music, wherever. It's distributed all places. YouTube, if you don't have any of those. And then where can they find me? That is a good question. I guess, the best place to find me is one, follow me on social media. And if not, you can also go to my website. It's kellercox.com. And that's KELLERCOX.com. You can find where I'm going to be playing at on there. But just to give, I guess, y'all an inside scoop of what I guess the future looks like. I'm going to be in College Station for a while until May/June. And I actually have a whole fifth year at A&M. So I'm a construction science student, and I'll be headed to Austin to do an internship there from June to December. I'm working for a construction company. And also I was strategic in picking Austin, so I could also play music on the weekends. So for a while here, I'm going to move from College Station and be kind of a newcomer in the Austin scene, which will be really fun. And also a little bit nerve wracking, putting yourself out there. It's always not easy, but I'll be in Austin for a little bit, and then I'll be back all around. I only have one class after my internship in the spring of 2022. And I plan to be all over the place by that point, trying to play as many shows as possible. And so you'll have to, I guess, catch me if you can.
For sure. So, I may be able to catch you at both places because I live about an hour from Austin, an hour and a half from College Station. And I've been looking to go play both those places myself. So, heck, we may have to song swap at some point.
That'd be fun, man. Let's try to set something up.
For sure. Well, are you ready for the big three questions?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. The first, if you could collaborate with anyone out there, who would it be?
Oh my, if I could collaborate with anyone out there. Okay. Can I say two people? Is that allowed?
Go for it.
Or maybe three. Top collaborating. I think one would be Evan Felker. And the reason being from Turnpike Troubadours, by the way, for those of you who don't know who he is, Evan Felker, this is crazy too. I'm glad this question was asked because it's really part of why I wanted to write music. Before I'd written my first song, and before I wrote my first song, I saw this podcast or like this interview, and it was Evan Felker talking about songwriting. And I remember exactly, I could tell you where I was in my car, the exact day when I listened to it, and I was like, I want to do that. And that was the moment where I was like, I want to do that. And I don't know how. And so that would be cool, even just to tell him that, and write a song with him. And man, I think it'd be cool to write with guys like Parker McCullum or Beto Cordero. But, at the same time, even if it's not writing with them, I would love just to talk. And I think, something I've learned in the music scene is when you get your foot in the door, like, you can, I used to be like a big fan, like I'm a huge fan, not that saying I'm not a fan. But now it's like, I'm writing music, you're writing music, and that kind of, you almost have to like drop that, and put on, not like you're faking it, but you're you're just happy to be, a part of something bigger than yourself. And, it's at that point when you're collaborating with someone, it's like, okay, I'm just a person and you're just a person. And we're trying to create something beautiful, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the big three, I guess, in my mind.
Number 2, if you could headline any venue anywhere, where would you go?
Headline any venue. I would have to say the Houston Rodeo. And I know that's crazy. One, Harry's would be the first step, but I just decided to go big there. If I ever played the Houston Rodeo, I don't even know what I would do. That'd be crazy. I grew up in Houston, and always went to the rodeo and saw people play there. And that'd be wild. I'd be smiling too much to even sing, but that would be crazy.
Houston Rodeo is pretty cool. If you're in the audience, it's pretty echoey, but I can't imagine the excitement of getting to play down on the rotating stage.
I know what you're saying, though, about the echo thing. The best show I've ever seen, and this is just a side tangent, the best show I've ever seen at the Houston Rodeo was an Aaron Watson show. And It was like you were at a dance hall. No joke. It was the coolest thing ever. Like it was Texas country is what it was, It's Texas country meets Houston Rodeo. And that was cool.
All right, the grand finale question. What is the funniest or craziest story you can tell from your music career so far?
Funniest or craziest music story? I would have to say, I'm going to go on the crazy thing because I haven't had a lot of years to something, super hilarious to happen. I mean, stuff always happens, but crazy story, I think, would be just how I got to where I am. And I really truly believe I wouldn't be playing music and trying to do this thing hadn't there been COVID, which is, don't want to be like it's a good thing because it's not. It's not a good thing at all. But I think in life, when we're dealt cards that, aren't the greatest, you've got to make the most out of it. And man, it is cool to see how the Lord can work all things for good. I'm a firm believer of that. And when COVID happened, all of the Yell events got shut down. And it was honestly really man, I don't even know if I'm going to have a senior Yell season. And it was, a lot of doubt and frustration and all this stuff. But then, after you sit in it for a second, I was like, wow, I get to chase music now. And so I reached out. I got some advice from a good friend that's in the music scene and said, hey, if you want to record something, then you got to find people who you like their sound and then see who produced them. And so I really like the way Parker McCullum sounds on Limestone Kid, his first album. And I was like, who produced that? And there was this guy named Corby Schaub. Never heard the name before. And I just sent him an email. And I was like, hey, howdy, Corby. My name's Keller, Aggie, and all that stuff. Told him my story. And he emailed back like the same day and was like, send me some demos. And so I sent him some demos of some songs that I'd written. And this is right at the start of quarantine. And he was like, yeah, dude, we're gonna work something out. We had an hour conversation, and it was the coolest moment. And I say that's crazy because that's Corby Schaub is really, I owe Corby for taking a chance on me and really listening and telling me to go for it and helping me get my first EP and now he produced the first full album as well, which you're still in the process of finishing up. But that is definitely the craziest music story that I have so far. And it's really what got me started, I guess, to really make the most out of this thing and try to do it as a career.
That's really cool. It's really interesting how the timing does put people in certain places. And I know you and I were talking earlier about, podcasting, how long I've been doing it. And really it was because of COVID. I mean, I wouldn't wish COVID to happen on anybody, but if you can look for the silver linings, it makes those times seem so much easier.
It is true. I think, life is hard and it's not fair. My dad always used to tell me that. And it's funny that kind of, if you've listened to Stuck Still, you hear a piece of that. But my dad I'd say, Dad, this isn't fair. I said, son, life's not fair. But life, what I've learned is life's not fair, but it is good. And there are good parts of it. And it's cool to be in those moments,
That's so true. Well, Keller, I appreciate you coming on today. This is a lot of fun. And when we close this thing out, how about we play Stuck Still? I believe that's the one I hadn't thrown in there yet.
Yeah, let's do it. Go for it, man.
Everyone, be sure to follow Keller Cox on social media. Be on the lookout in February for his new music. You and I are actually both putting out music in February, so it's going to be a really busy month. So I'm rooting for you and hoping this is a fruitful month for everybody.
Totally. Garrett, thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun to relive some of the stories of just how everything got started, and big fan of what you're doing, and keep it up, man. It's, going forward is not an easy thing, but it's worth it. And it's, I think it pays off in the long run. So, again, thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. This makes me smile, and it's going to give me some energy to keep going this semester. So,
well, for those 5 a.m.s, I hope it helps. Well,
right.
It's been my pleasure. Y'all be sure to follow Keller Cox. This has been episode 37 of the Garrett Smith Podcast, and this is Stuck Still.
Sitting here in this bucket chair on a seems like a never-ending strip of highway, face pressed against the glass. Looky there, there's a field that's ripe and ready for harvest. I'm counting those cows and dreaming about a life years down the road from now. And I'm ready to go, just say those words, and I'd up and leave this place in a heartbeat. And I've heard before that life ain't always fair. I'm thinking fast forward of where I wanna be while I'm stuck still, sitting here. Moving on, or are we moving at all? This road keeps stretching on for miles, and I keep on seeing the same damn things I saw. Is that the same cornfield and song on that dial? Still counting those cows and dreaming about a life years down the road from now. And I'm ready to go, just say those words, and I'd up and leave this place in a heartbeat. I've heard before that life ain't always fair. I'm thinking fast forward to where I wanna be while I'm stuck still, sitting here. And here I'm far from where I'm going, and there I'm right where I wanna be. And here I've given up my hope, and there I'm joyful and free. I'm ready to go, just say those words, and I'd up and leave this place in a heartbeat. I've heard before that life ain't always fair. I'm thinking fast forward of where I wanna be while I'm stuck still. Yes, I'm stuck still while I'm stuck still, sitting here.